Come and take a seat while I bring the heat. I'm your host with the most. My name is Dizzy, and I'm definitely going to keep you busy.
Yes, that is very true. I am definitely going to keep you busy, because I am your host with the most, as it said. And you know what? Life is getting more and more exciting every single day. The show, we're on episode 124. Last week we had Cheryl Chapman, and she blew it away. Well, guess what? I met another lady, and I know of her. I've seen her name, I've seen her impact, and I've seen her energy. And as I was talking to Harinder, I said, what about that lady? Is it Ghazala? And he went, yeah. So he passed me her details. We had a conversation today. Oh, my goodness me. The energy was going through the roof. Ghazala Jabeen, welcome to Sit Down Sundays.
Oh, that's lovely. I love energy. Energy is amazing. And you know what? We need more and more people to just shower the space with energy. And that's when we really do ignite that excitement about the life that we have and the things we do. Thank you for having me here, Dizzy. Thank you. Nice to have you be with me and me with you, and that energy igniting each other to ignite the rest of the world, because that's what we're here for, world transformation.
We are. You're right. Well, the thing is, our conversation earlier today was so refreshing because I felt like I was speaking to somebody who understood exactly what I was talking about. And the more we talked, the more I realized why. Because 2008, for those of people that know me, I branded myself as a genie, okay? Because I had a beard that came down, and I had a little bit at the back, which I've got a similar style now. But that was the Genie 1.0. And I had a process. And then once I spoke to you, we had a similar conversation. I was like, she is the female genie. I'm the male genie. She's the female genie. And the subject of this month is purpose and passion. And I know after I said that, he said, well, that's 2 of my 3 Ps. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you Ghazala Jabeen, talking about the 3 Ps, of which purpose and passion is already. So tell us, what's the 3rd P?
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, it is exciting how we did connect. It was like everything we spoke about was so in alignment with our values, the work we're doing, where our journey's been, where we're coming through, and where we sit in this beautiful space where we talked about that, having that peace of mind. We had clarity before, but bringing clarity upon clarity, that's a whole different ball game, right? So my 3 Ps, and when you said passion and purpose, I've always said, when we start with a purpose of doing something and we bring the passion to the purpose in which to get the best results, we add the 3rd P, which is the posture in which we deliver. And delivery is very much about posture. Isn't just how we stand or we got the arms folded or anything like that. Posture comes in so many ways about projection of the message, projection of the energy, projection of the vocal cord, projection of the visibility and everything that surrounds us in a beautiful way. And then you do have the 3 powerful P's to presenting, and that's what I teach, that's what I created. And when you said passion and purpose, I'm like, you're already there, you're 2/3 in. Yeah, it's exciting.
Wow, that's amazing. I love the synergy. It just reinforces what I'm going with, how I live my life. And I can say it's true. I'm truly blessed to live the way I do live. And it's not something that's exclusive to me. And I haven't done much to have this position. In fact, to have this exclusive life, you just got to be you.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that getting in touch with your purpose does. It helps you understand. I mean, I'm lucky enough. I was blessed at the age of 19 to find out my purpose on the planet. I wasn't ready to understand, because I was a 19-year-old kid. I was a hairdresser. I wasn't interested in saving the world. But I got my purpose then, and as that journey's evolved, and there was a significant moment where everything expanded exponentially, I should say. It was when Harinder and Kalpesh and Sue said, Dizzy, would you like to become an ambassador for world transformation? And I said, wow, yeah. No one's asked me to be an ambassador before. And that responsibility, you know, a lot of the great speakers say that when you have something, when you're looking for something, when you're trying to achieve something bigger than you, when your cause is much, much greater than you, everything expands. What you're capable of is much, much greater. And there's a direct correlation with me becoming an ambassador that day and where we are today, because I've taken that on board as a responsibility now. And now that responsibility has allowed the magnitude of connections, and the birth of the show was evolving from, you know, and I know you've played a key role for years in world transformation. Do you just want to tell us how you started?
I shall indeed. And just as before I say that, there's another thing you've just said that's absolutely, again, it's like we've been on the same path as two genies. I mean, you've been known as the genie, and my surname is Jabeen, so I've been the Jabini. And the Jabini, it would have been Jabini in the bottle, but because these days we're all gone virtual and online, I'm Jabini in the portal. Click me the right way and I appear, and you did. And you clicked me and I appeared, right? So yeah, so that was another one, because actually back in the days when you were 19 hairdressing, I was 18 and working in a hairdressing school. I was my first part of sales things, and I was running a whole department of calls in a hairdressing school, and with private hairdressing, you know, training courses, and I hadn't even done sales, and I was put like, there's a list, there's the people, there's the courses, bring some people on, and I was like, but I haven't done this. I mean, what do I know about sales, and what do I know about marketing? And to be known these days as the #1 marketing machine, it was like, that's been quite a journey. And you just talked about hairdressing. I've just been in the hairdressing, and we were about the similar sort of age. So it's one of those right moments. So my journey, there's a lot about my journey, but just whilst we're talking about world transformation, like yourself, Sue, Harinder and Kalpesh reached out to me, and they said that we know you've done a lot, and we're wanting to do a lot for the world in general, and why not create a World Transformation Day when we have Mother's Day, Father's Day, this day, that day, and the other day. And we're looking for ambassadors really to run the space of bringing transformations, the stories, the change, and for people that are not only influential, but their own stories of what they've helped to make the transformations. And so when I was asked to be one of the very first of the ambassadors for world transformation, I totally understand what you're saying, is that when somebody puts you in a position, in a special position, in a place of authority, a specialist, somebody that's leading the way to help you make a change collectively and bringing you in there, that's just like, wow. And I remember like, so this is like, okay, what is expected? I also realized that often I find myself as the only female in a man position a lot of the time. And there were, I think, there's 5 others, and we had obviously a lot from the UK, and there's my little face sitting in there. And my mom said, why does it always have to be you as the girl in all them men? Can you not go into where men are? I mean, women are even. And I was like, Mom, it just happens to be that a lot of women, we're pushing to get more lady leaders out there, which is where a lot of my work went. And one of my Lady Leaders talk show, we had Sue. She was the first one to bring on to that as my guest, because as a co-founder of the World Transformation, I thought who better than bring it back. And I got Sue on there and asked her to share her story as a lady leader and how her journey began and where she is. And here she is as one of the co-founders of the World Transformation Organization. So that's a little bit about how our connection came. Kalpesh reached out. I said, yes, let's do something here, and I will put in as much as I can. And so it began the journey, and here we are.
Wonderful. So look, that day has now transformed. It transformed into a monthly event, and then the monthly event kind of was happening, and I think it was about 6 months ago or 3 months ago. I suggested, why don't I do a show? Because I did a podcast in 2008. I was working with a company called Success University, and they needed products. So I thought, why don't I just create my own product, which was me interviewing these amazing people, which was it had a double effect, because now I wanted to become a motivational speaker. So I now had an excuse to go and interview motivational speakers about whatever subject they were special about. And that became my product. That's me interviewing them. Now all my friends were motivational speakers, and I had the perfect excuse. Excuse me, Robin Banks. My name's Dizzy. Can I interview you? And that's a real person, by the way, Robin Banks. Yeah, he's not amazing guy. In fact, I'm going to have him on the show soon as well. But I interviewed a series of people, and the series was called Find Your Genius. But I spelt genius with a genie in it, because everyone has a genie within us, right?
Wow.
So the Find Your Genius was the series, but that was an audio program. So when I thought about, why don't I just do a transformational show? Because I'm going to be doing the same thing. All the difference is now we have a narrative, which is we're going to talk about a certain subject, and then we're going to explore that subject with whoever the expert is. But we want this to not just be a talk show, it's the talk and walk show. Yeah, we're going to talk about stuff, and then we're going to walk it. You're going to walk the walk and talk the talk, as they say. So we're going to talk about, I mean, you've already given us a little highlight into why being your purpose is important. And then after that, we want to leave the audience with something practical that they can do right now that's going to create transformation in finding their purpose or finding their passion. But whatever you have to share, Ghazala, I know it's going to be, it reminds me of the word gazillion whenever I say your name.
My name is actually Gazillionaire Gaz. I'm sure you're in your genie version in my house here, and you got me all figured out.
Just so you know, we may get interrupted by my son because he's just got home from school, so
okay,
he might say hi. So go on, tell us, where should we start?
Let's see, because there's so many different areas to my work. But let's share with you a little bit about the purpose, the passion, and things that actually have come in my journey and how it's transformed me, because that is very fitting with our theme here.
How did you find your purpose and passion?
Yeah, and you said something earlier on, Dizzy, that you said you were kind of here and you didn't know where your calling was, and suddenly through the life's journey, and suddenly you appear to, like a genie, appeared in a place where you're supposed to, right? And you and I are going to be known as these two genies, you know, now. I'm telling you, that's a whole different way that they're going to speak to us now. It's that genie, it's the girl genie, it's the boy genie, you know, and sort of thing. But, you know, as I speak to people and as a coach, I help transform a lot of people in their purpose and passion. I always ask them that, what is it and what point did you find your purpose or passion that's what made you get to where you have got to today? And what's interesting is people start out in school, don't they? As I was fighting for my education, here's the interesting thing. Coming from cultural limitations, I was the kind of girl from a family that was supposed to be behind the scenes. You got to keep quiet, you got to keep your head covered, and you're not supposed to say anything and do anything. And I was just not that kind of girl. I was like, I had a voice, and I recognized I can say things and make things and change things. And so this little bubbling, you know, passion inside of me, like, want to do this, want to learn that, because that's like empowering. Because when you find out and you educate yourself, like here, people who'll be listening, I hope that people, when they're listening, they can kind of resonate their journey and what was it when they were young, what is it that really triggered them? What is it that was like their tripwires and triggers in their life? What was it that pulled them in a magnetism to certain thing? Mine was people, like the wise people at my 5 years of age back home in Pakistan, because that's where I was actually born. When I was studying the ABC of my language, Urdu, and I was taught by a little old lady in exchange for, it was like she did a little trade-off with me. I mean, you imagine like a trade-off for a 5-year-old, right? This by this 80-year-old. She said, I will teach you, because I was out in the village living with my grandma, and she said, I will teach you the ABC of it, but would you do me a favor as well? And I said, yes, we were taught to be kind and do good. And I said, yeah. She said, it's just that when I wash my hair or wash my back, I have a shower thing, I can't get to my back and I can't do my hair. I said, oh, you want me to wash your hair and wash your back for you? She said, yes. And then pour the water on me so I can, I said, to the bucket of water at the side. And I was doing this. And this was our little trade-off. And I remember the little simple ABCs and the experience of my senior teaching me this. And to this day, the wise words of the wise people that have come through a journey, this always inspired me to still keep growing. And it's like the flower that keeps blossoming, the garden blossoms, another bud appears, another shoot of a plant grows, and it blossoms. That's the journey within us, within the branches of our own life that is, coming into different sprouting modes and everything. And I remember she said to me, you're a good girl and life's going to treat you well. Embrace every journey and everything and make the very best of it, in her own little humble words. And I went away, hop, skippity jump in my little way, like that was nice. And off I went. But it's interesting how people say things and little words are seeded. And then over time, life waters the seed, and there we start flourishing into something else. And so that was my beginning. But then as I came to the UK, and we did our normal compulsory years as education, and then I wanted to study further, going after normal everyday study years, compulsory ones, I wanted to study further. Once again, I had a fight against education. My brother felt I didn't need to study. I was going to get sent to Pakistan, marry some elephant driver over there and live my life and get on with it. And I said, no, what do you mean? I said, why did Dad tell me that I hadn't to fail an exam, never to fail an exam, do my thing? Why would I want to then just go and not do anything any further? Anyway, is this your son coming?
No.
So I was just waiting to say hello. So then it was like my brother, actually, we had a bit of an argument. It led to a punch in the face because I was a bit outspoken, and he was stopping me from going any further with education. So my story has been from suppression to expression, that I was fighting for education. And here, as time turns around and karma serves us beautifully, I now deliver education. And that's a full circle of the world that we have to go through that journey. So the passion in my journey and the purpose of my role was to, if I learn more, I'm empowered more, I can make more of a difference. And I can make a difference for myself. I can make a difference for others around me, because I have the knowledge that is equipping me with that empowerment. And that really taught me on from this level to that level to this level. I went from school, I went to secondary school, I went to college, I went to university. I now train and create my own online programs of education through the whole life's learning that I've done. That's where my passion and drive and purpose has been.
Wow, that's splendid. So tell us, you told us about the 3 P's, but you said there's more P's, right?
There's always more peas in a pod.
P's, because look, the people watching right now, the world is in a state. Okay, yeah. There's fortunate and unfortunate. The fortunate thing is it's all in the mind. Unfortunate is most people don't get it. Most people don't get that the problems that exist in their lives are not outside. You got to sort the inside out, and the moment the inside's sorted, the outside automatically changes. Because look, the whole world has gone through a crisis, a metamorphosis, a change. And I think the more you can deal with change and adapt, because I've had to adapt with technology. You know, we live in what we can do today compared to what that when you were growing up and when I was growing up. That the story of the old lady that you just said. How are we going to implement that with technology in this current day and age? Because right now I'm a parent and I have a 5-year-old. I'm so glad I'm doing what I'm doing, because the lady I interviewed last week, she talked about how something that happened to her when she was 5 impacted her for all her life, until she realized that the thing that was told to her when she was 5, she carried unconsciously, but it ran her life. It ran her life for 40 years. So, you know, I think it's a really important time to be sharing the knowledge and the experiences we've had, because for me, upon hearing that, it's made me more aware about my relationship with my son.
I think it's such an important part what you just said of that age as well, and this here's something that I would like everybody that is listening to you and I right now, and I want to share something that is so important, so valuable, that hopefully every parent or everyone in charge with a sense of responsibility for the youngsters, because even with World Transformation, to create an organization, to put some funds to create schooling, education, and that part to enrich the youngsters of tomorrow. Here's the thing. You and I, we talked about what happened in our life as we were young. You talked about your guest of last week, where she talked about a 5-year-old situation that's traveled with it, that's held her back. I know that if we interview so many grown-up people, the effects of their childhood is running their riot in their life that is holding them back so much. And if we can just make sure, as a responsible parents, people that are in teaching places, is how can we make sure that the children are in a place where they're not only looked after, but they heard. So we ask them what they feel. We give them the time, the undivided attention. That we're so busy on the mobile phones, or we're business, or we're talking, or we're so many people in business, sadly, have a broken home because they're so busy in business. They have a broken home because the time they have not put into balancing the time within their loved ones, because they're that busy building their future for the loved ones. They've forgotten the time, and that time was so precious. And that person that was left without time, attention, and to be able to be spoken to be asked, and the person to feel they matter, they've been neglected in the busyness of the world, and then later they've been scarred, and those scarrings carry on with them forevermore.
I speak from first-hand knowledge. Since I've been married, I've had two businesses at barbershops, and they are time-consuming. They're time-heavy, and you know, if you're good at what you do, you're in demand and you're required. You know, hairdressing, barbering, they're all ego-based businesses because everyone wants to look good, right? So it's unfortunate I was in the position of massaging everyone's ego and then saying, stop listening to your ego. Let's massage the ego and then stop listening to your ego. So I hear you, you know, that right now it's a very important time to share that message. And upon being a parent, it was exciting for me because personal development was a subject I didn't realize was you could get paid. When I was 26, I saw Tony Robbins, and the first thing I thought was, my goodness me, I paid 400 quid. There's 12,500 people here. Can I get on stage and talk like this guy? I thought I could do that. I'm a hairdresser. I'd talk and I cut. I'll just stop cutting and just keep talking. And that's when I met Kalpesh, because I didn't realize getting up on stage was a career option. Then when I heard the common sense, because personal development is common sense, you know when they explain it, oh yeah, that makes sense. And once you understand it, that journey has led us to where we are today. And I think sharing that information, just like someone shared some information with me, I listened, because we don't hear. I used to say in my shop when I used to cut somebody's hair, I used to practice because I wasn't a motivational speaker. I wasn't doing all my work in South Africa. I was just cutting hair. But I used to practice on my clients. So when they'd sit down, I'd say, so what instead of talking about the weather or where you going on holiday, so where are you going in life? Excuse me? where do you see yourself 20 years from now? I've not thought about that yet, mate. Well, go on, have a think now. Go on, while I'm cutting your hair. You got 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay? So
I wouldn't expect that. That's funny, actually. I just envisaging you there.
You know, some of the barbers, they'd say that the client would come in and he'd leave the shop and he says, "You've just done him in, haven't you?" Meaning, you just mangled his brain. Bless him, the guy just came for a haircut and you've just asked him the meaning of life.
Oh,
where do you see yourself in 20 years from now?
I bet it's interesting. I wonder how many people that you asked that question have changed their life because you made them think.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember the first guy in my really early days. I said to this guy, I said, "What do you really want to do?" And he worked in an office, right? And he goes, "You know what I'd really love to do? I'd love to sack my job off, buy a camper van and just go off." And I was like, "Do it? Why not?" I said, "Look, I was 17. I got evicted from my house. Well, I got suggested by my dad, go on, leave."
Oh,
so
God.
my auntie,
That's a tough order there. There's your door, son. Off you go.
So my dad's sister, my boy, she had me with open arms. So I went there to go and work in a warehouse, but I applied for a job in a hairdresser's. Anyway, I got the job. And for me, I grew up as the president's son. So my dad was the president of the Hindu society. So when I got to London, nobody knew who my dad was because I said, "Excuse me, do you know who my dad is?" And they're like, "Yeah."
Do you know who my dad is?
Nobody knew who my dad was. So that meant I could do anything. And I went mad. I became whatever I wanted to be.
Gosh. That's amazing. That's actually funny because you're saying that. I was the naughty kid at school, right? Because I wanted to vocalize and I get myself into trouble for vocalizing. And then if anybody was like kind of retaliating in any way, I would say, "Do you know whose sister I am?" And then they didn't want to mess with me. And it's just, I don't know, it was a bit empowering. And it was a bit like, not a bit cocky, but like, I'm all right. You know, like my brother's going to sort them out if they mess with me. That's it. And it was kind of funny, really. Sometimes we use that, but that's just little ammunitions to really, as we're sort of treading on ground that we like, not sure, but we're treading it. We're prodding something. We're not sure if it's going to bite back at us, but we're prodding it because we feel we have some, inbuilt ammunition. That's funny. That is, yeah.
Okay, so look, for the audience now, I want you to think about your purpose. But have you heard the World Transformation song yet?
Yes, it's a fantastic, very moving song. I mean, do you want to play it?
So, I mean, the thing is, every episode, I always play it. Normally, I play it at the beginning, but we have so much to talk about. I think this is the perfect time to play it. Reason being, I want everyone who's watching this right now to dream big, okay? But then don't just dream big, dream even bigger than that. And once you can dream bigger than that, push it another notch. Okay, because that's what this song's about. So let's play this song and then we'll be back.
This is a message for everyone who is listening. Hearts and minds connecting, building a world community. This is the moment the people are coming together. Spirit of transformation, reunite in the meaning of we. What is the biggest thing that you can dream of? What can you do to make it true? World Transformation Day, let's make a difference. You for me and me trumpets and the ringing. Be allowed to awaken, to ignite the passion within. Ready for changes. The spirit is stirred and shaken. Now we are primed to awaken. New chapters for us to begin. What is the biggest thing that you can dream of? What can you do to make it true? Well, transformation day, let's make a difference. You for me, and me for you. What is the biggest thing that you can dream of? What can you do to make it true? Well, transformation day, let's make a difference. You for me, and me for you. We can dream bigger. We open our eyes 'cause we forgot that we could see. We can dream better. We sing it aloud to be the best that we can be. Can be. Can be. What is the biggest thing that you can dream of? What can you do to make it true? Well, transformation day, let's make a difference. You for me, and me for you. Transformation. What is the biggest thing that you can dream of? What can you do to make it true? Well, transformation day, let's make a difference. You for me, and me for you.
Wow, that actually moves you. I get goosebumps. You feel that soul awaken with the message in that. And when it talks about that new chapter, I think this particular part we're sharing today, may it be somebody's new chapter of that awakening, that purpose and that passion to take things to a whole different level. It's very needed out there, Dizzy, very needed indeed. And I would like to share, when you're ready, some of the simple things that people can do to find and look into how their purpose can be wakened even more. It says dream bigger and dream bigger still. So let's wake it and wake it some more. And, you know, let's look at some stepping stones that people can actually take from this call as they're watching and apply that in their everyday life in a very simple, easy, but passionate way as well.
Let's do this. I mean, look, every time I watch that, you know what it does for me? It opens a part of me that allows me to dream even bigger. And the thing is, it was John D. Martini says, when you get inspired till you get tears.
Yeah, I know.
That's when you know
the inner part has moved.
Yeah, and you know what? That song does it every single time because
do you know the bit that moved me in that song emotionally? When you see those horses that were raring to go and the spirit part of it, that charging out of the energy that they take with them and the spirit and soul that moves them, that snippet within the song of the words, that's my point within that whole thing that really pushes all boundaries out.
Yeah. So come on, let's do some work.
So let's do some work. So I think
ready.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is what some people need to look at, because I provided quite a bit of coaching in the World Transformation as well. I used to offer that full hour of support for people. And I want to just bring a few of those points back to people, some that couldn't make it, but the community of the World Transformation Organization and the people they know that may be looking, they could bring into the community that is a source of information and support to help those. And that's why we always say to people is, let's spread the word. Let's bring somebody who you know. I mean, pick up the signs, because mental health awareness is a big thing, especially through lockdown. And I was speaking to somebody. Now, I speak to people all the time, but it was actually research statistics showed that 6 months of being alone has actually proven for people to get into depressive state of mind, of blockages within them that actually mentally limits growth. So we need to try and erase some of this and unblock it and really develop the mind to open up with it. So COVID hasn't played a good part for so many, where they've been shut alone and been alone, and yet there is so much the world has got to offer them. And what I'd like people to do is this. First thing is that I would like people to have a hardback book of theirs to keep for like a little journaling book. That's their personal little diary note of something that is theirs. It doesn't have to be big, or something that is close for them, pen to paper, a cup of tea, glass of water, or a moment. Because if we don't take that moment, we often do meditation, but we have to switch the noise off, the phones off, and just go into complete inner self, because, we have to disconnect to connect. So I think the first thing people need to do is disconnect to connect, and then sit within their soul and ask themselves, first and foremost, make a list of their values, because that's going to awaken their inner soul as well. What do they value? Because what they used to value before to what they value now is another state of mind and a change that's happened. So reflect on things like, people want harmony, community, ethics, contribution, attitude, learning, the bigger picture, the bigger goal, personal goal they need to look at, and a goal either in business where they want to go, or a project that they want to support. That's where people need to be looking at: a personal space where they want to go, a business project, or a project in its own way through community is where do they want to be going. Because the important thing is, everyone is at different point in their lives. Some are flying high in business over there. Others don't have an interest in business. They just want to breathe every day to be in a happier space. So if we look at that cross section of the people we have, is they need to first list down their values, because that is going to drive their reason of the purpose in the first place that pulls them into the energy of feeling. Every word that they write, they need to close their eyes and ask themselves, how do they feel? When people are asking themselves that, the list of it, and asking themselves the question of what does it mean to them, and they sit, close their eyes, and they feel, the feeling is the one that's going to make the physical and chemical change in their body. That's the change. That's the magic. The second thing they got to ask themselves is a question of, if this is what I want, what has stopped me doing it? What has stopped me doing it? And write that what has stopped me doing it. They then need to look at is, how can I get to the space to eliminate that stop point and unblock that bit and reach out? And where do they reach out? The first part of that is our World Transformation Organization itself. We have resources, support, people, the go-to place and everything. They can reach out to individuals like you and I and say, hey, I'm at a crossroads. I want this, I value this, I want to do that, but I don't know where to start. There's enough people available for people to go to, because remember, teachers had a teacher, mentors had a mentor, coaches had a coach. So we are all have been leaders, but we had to follow before we could lead. We had to follow a path of learning. So therefore, they need to look at it. And in addition to that, there is so much resource within our platform and on online stuff, free stuff as well, that they can actually tap into, learn more. I want to also give our audience something to drive their passion and purpose, and more stronger than an affirmation. Okay. There are a lot of coaches, mentors, the people that have helped us the journey along, and we want to share that. It's always part of giving back. So I'm going to give back what I've learned that's helped me, and I want to share that with everybody else. Psychology tests and studies were done for brainwave activity. And there was 2 groups that were studied for 2 words or sentences that actually saw the chemical changes in the brainwave activity. One word was affirmations. Affirmations people have learned for so many years after, studying motivational personal development programs, the law of attraction and all the rest. And they wake up and say, I am good at talking to people in business. I am good at telephone calls. I am good at writing sales. I am good at marketing. I am good at this. And I am this and I am that. It's an affirmation. It's powerful because it's said enough times. It's like when you're naughty at school and you've done 100 lines and then you don't ever be naughty again because that many lines will tell you not to do that again. Right? Tedious task. But then we do the affirmations. We write and speak and write and speak until we actually believe in it. Now, people often say to me, so Gaz, you take things to a whole different level. We said there's dreaming big, and how do we take it even bigger? Let's take that affirmations completely to a whole different bigger game. What is more powerful than affirmations? I'll tell you what that is, because my very good friend Noah St. John taught this program, and we will probably maybe arrange for him to come on this show as well and share this. And he taught the word affirmation. There is affirmation and there is affirmation. One is a statement and the other one is a question. I am good at marketing versus why am I good at marketing? Now, why now gets the brain like the Google search engine. What is the best Italian restaurant in London, Southend? Then Google says, wait a minute, I go find them. And then it gives you a list. We then tap in that programming in our mind and we say, why am I good at personal development teaching? Why am I a good coach? Then you write down the list. So with the people that are writing down the values to find their passion and purpose, they need to write down some of these wonderful things they're good at. The reason I've got these values, that this is what I want to do. Why am I good at this? Why do I want to do it? And you watch, put down the answers, and you know what? You're on a winner out of passion and purpose, and your journey will begin. Such simple steps.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of speakers say that the how is none of your business. Yeah, the why is the most important thing, and it's true, because how you get something doesn't matter. Once your why is big enough and you know why, it's game over, because you can feel it straight away.
Yeah, and here's the other thing with the why, to fuel the why.
Sorry, I missed that.
Sorry, that's my Siri talking then. Siri can be quiet. I didn't even ask it to talk. You see, we have technology and things take over. Oh my goodness, let me just take that off. So the thing to fuel the why, to make it a powerful why, because we remember we're talking passion, aren't we? Right. In order to create the passion of the why, that we need to make sure that we are getting that action giving us the results, is the minute you write down the why, you have to feel it totally. Here's another thing I want to share because of the feelings. The feelings are the movers here. The feelings are the movers. When somebody stands to ask themselves, should I do this or should I not? The two indicators, left and right in a car, indicators, left, right, okay. The two indicators that one should ask themselves a question. They don't even need to worry about anybody else, because like you said, the answers are within. We had to disconnect to connect. The answers are within. So we have to ask ourselves, should I be doing this new project, this new proposal, this new presentation thing, this new thing that's been delivered? Should I do it? Or should I buy that dress? Or should I not buy that dress? Should I go on this course? Should I not go? There's the indicators. When you ask yourself, should I do this or not? Next thing is, I talked about powerful feelings, because they're the ones that move us in everything. If the feeling is moving us to a frown on the forehead and a stomach sort of tightening, like tension, like acidity buildup, that's the body talking to you, because naturally That's not something that's sitting well with you. So why are you going to put yourself through the frown, through the acidity? The solar plexus is the one that's actually giving you that gut feeling of, is it good or not? And if you're tight in your tummy, that's an indicator that the body's talking to you, because it doesn't sit with you fully, but you kind of want to try and convince yourself. However, on the second indicator is if you say, should I be doing this? And then you got a smile on your face and you got butterfly feelings and you got goosebumps and energy's moving and you're like, I'm feeling this. I want to do this. Like, like you're bubbling with excitement. It's saying absolutely go for it, because you have got that feeling. The energy's moved. You've actually got that whole thing. That's what people should do in a simple way, because the body don't tell lies. The body doesn't tell lies. It speaks to you every day. The answers are within you. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, it's very funny. I used to say this. I can ask you 2 questions that will give you a clue to your purpose in life. Okay, and one of them is, you can be at a party till 5 in the morning, right? You're really tired. You want to go home, and all of a sudden, someone turns up and they start talking about a subject that you love. All of a sudden, this tired person is not tired. Yeah. What's that subject? What is that subject? Because everybody's got something in their life. Yeah. When that happens, all of a sudden, and you said it's the feeling that it gives you when you talk about that subject. All of a sudden, now you're not tired.
That's right.
And the other thing, the other question is, so I always say to people, look, answer these 2 questions. That's the first one. The second question is, what is it that you can do? And you can do it for 7 hours, but it feels like 7 minutes. Because time disappears when it's something you love. You can do it for hours and hours and hours, and it feels like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Why did that happen like that? Because time shrinks when you enjoy your passion, your love. And it expands when it's something you hate. It's like, oh, when is this going to end?
Yeah, that watching the clock, like, when is it going to
be? Man, God, what time is it now, please?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. No, it's very true. And I think that's, hopefully some of these little techniques and simple things that people just, as I say, the first most important part is to bring everything to yourself and just take a moment to where you're driving this passion and purpose. And who are you doing it for, and what will it achieve? What's the objective of your purpose, and who is it going to be? People also need to be specific. The airy fairy Mary attitude, right, is not the way to go about it, because when people like, oh, I'm going to win the lottery and then I'm going to give the money to the charity, and they haven't even bought a ticket. And so there's that side. And the other thing about it is that the airy Mary fairy attitude is that it's all like, I want to show I'm a goody two-shoe and I want to do this and I want to do that, but nobody's really making the effort because they haven't really set the stall out. They haven't put the stuff on the stall either. So I think that the key thing about it is for anybody listening and taking some notes from this session. And although we're talking on a nice relax, it's not a course that we're doing, but some nice chit-chatty talk, because again, we want people to take action with it, is that when they are writing these things, they are putting this plan together with it. They have to also look at who's going to support them, who's their buddying person to support them with this as well, to help them achieve it on accountability. And they have to have that accountability written down with a time frame that is comfortable, no stress. And if you are off track, don't worry. Even if you had plans last year and it didn't quite get, what's wrong with today? What's wrong with a fresh, clean day of a fresh, clean slate to start that again and do it? It's like for me when I wrote the book, Dizzy, I've written so many training programs all my life now for so many organizations, for magazines, for my personal work and everything. The hardest thing for me that I ever wrote was my book. One thing I knew that my passion was that I lost my dear husband, Martin, to pancreatic cancer, and we were married for 25 years.
Wow.
Martin had been my best mentor, my coach, my trainer, he's now my guardian angel. That's where my spirituality and the movements pull me into it. When Martin passed away, people who know my story know that there is a film coming out and there's a book being written, and it's quite a big story about that as well. And for those that have seen my interviews know the story. But when we talk about a passion, my book, I got this because I wanted to share this with you, right? This book was not written for me to make any money or anything. This is the love that I lost. The book called Loved, Lived, Lost was Martin shown me the journey for a purpose and passion. And when I was writing that book, the love within me was that Martin's last dying wish was to raise more awareness for pancreatic cancer. In a state of tragedy, when you've lost the love partner of yours, your soul partner in life, for 25 years of togetherness, of silver wedding anniversary we just celebrated, and weeks after Martin passed away. And his dying wish was, let's raise as much awareness for pancreatic cancer as possible, that no other family has to hurt like we're hurting. And Martin said to me, the cancer bit is not what's killing me here, wifey. It's killing me and hurting me is, how do I tell my children that their dad is not going to be here any longer for them? That was the most heartbreaking part of it. And when I wrote that book, there were more tears on that paper than there was ink. But when I wrote with passion to deliver the book in such a way of paying a tribute to Martin and the wish that he left, I took a whole team of people to Mount Snowdon, the highest mountain of England and Wales, with a whole team, with the mayor of my town giving us a send-off, with a camera crew marching up, the train went up, the people went up, a whole team of people. And on the back of that book is all of us at Mount Snowdon, or the pinnacle point, the summit, where we went and we did a high five to Martin to say, hey, your wish has been accomplished. We've done this. And that is driving something with a passion, because it wasn't that I was going to bring Martin back, but I wanted to do the book for 3 reasons. 1, to pay beautiful tribute for something that I loved and still do. Secondly, to raise awareness of the message within that book for helping others. And third was to be the voice of those that never got heard and they lost their lives because people didn't pick up on their symptoms. And passionately, I wrote that book, and every chapter is being shared. And that book had to go number 1 because I had to drive that book with passion and deliver it with a purpose and put that message out there in a number 1 top position, because no good doing a high five on the top mountain if the book ain't going number 1. So the book went number 1 bestseller in less than 12 hours of launch. And I am not, as I always say to people, I am not number 1 marketing machine for nothing. And I did it. And the thing, when you do something with passion, you get recognized. And recognition was, how much do I give back? And then along came the passion part of my book was, I appear in as one of the 100 most successful women around the world. Wow. And I'm in that book for a reason. And that book was literally it was about, how did I create my success? What was the passion? What was the purpose? What did I do? What did I change? And what I've shared a few glimpses of today in this talk was things that I did, that if people are going to receive you, let them receive you where they feel passionate and the drive, and they've woken up and they're ready to move. The sleeves rolled up, not fingers crossed, sleeves rolled up, ready to go and take that thing to the passion, to the level it needs to get the recognition it needs.
Wow. Very, very. I mean, look, I purposely didn't do any research on you because I and this is something I've learned. If you're going to interview somebody, there's no point in fighting. You're going to run out of questions. So I know you've received awards. I've seen snippets on the WhatsApp groups, and and I was excited to interview you and to find out all this stuff. So I knew you'd written a book. I knew you'd achieved some accolades. Is there anything else you've done that can surprise us? Because I know you're a woman of many talents. I know you do some dancing stuff as well, right?
Yeah, Bollywood actually became an award-winning business because it was actually one of the dragons from the BBC TV Dragons program, Rachel Ann, First Lady Dragon. And the award that I got was how much money and contribution did I put for fundraising for my community projects, like the charities, like the WIs, that the smaller organizations, like all collectively, nationally, internationally, became that. And collectively now, I think we've raised over £180,000, and that was the award that I got through Bollywood Dancing. In World Transformation Day, we did the same. We put the donation for World Transformation, and I physically went out to show the Bollywood dancing to even people that were disabled, people that were elderly. We were going to do the World Transformation dance of all the world's dances. And then, of course, COVID stopped us to meeting up to doing it. So that was kind of left pending. But Bollywood became that because It was my personal transformation. We talk about transformation. It was my transformation from being a big mama Gaz, clinically obese, BMI over 29, and it was size 18 and a big girl. And I was like, and people like, no way. I was, yes way. I was. And then I took myself from big size 18 to size 8 and 10, and I'd made that personal transformation.
Wow.
Friends wanted to know, how did I do it? 3 friends kept going on saying, please, Gaz, tell us. And I was like, no, because I felt a little bit embarrassed, because I was like, here's me doing my ballet dance, carrying on, right? And they wanted to know it. And it went to like 33 people turned up at a class that wasn't even prepped for a proper class. It led to 30,000 strong audience. It's led to my title, Ghazala Jabeen, the Bollywood Queen, internationally famed. And when the BBC were doing some discovery of Wales, I live in North Wales, and people wanted to, they were doing research of how many Asians have done good in Wales. So we got the doctors in the hospital, we've got the curry shops and restaurants everywhere, we've got the corner shops, and then they were looking at community project people and the entrepreneurs. They were searching and Googling, and the Bollywood appeared, and like a genie, I appeared on the internet search. So like, that's what happens when you are a Jabini in the bottle and the Jabini in the portal. I appeared. When they then got to find out more about me, it opened this door, and they're like, oh, she's done this. She's an award-winning this. She's a global professional member of honorary member of this. She's on the Hall of Fame in the network and direct sales industry, and appear in the legendary people. We've got Brian Tracy, Bob Proctor, Jim Rohns. These were the names, Anthony Robbins, Eric Worre, all these people. And my name appears on the Hall of Fame amongst legendary people. At first, I thought somebody was kidding me and they've just photoshopped me. But no, it was genuinely, I was given that beautiful place to be in the Hall of Fame amongst these people for the success that I created for lives around the world in the business and the leadership that I've put out. And when the BBC people got to know about it, one of the producers of one of the shows for Wales, they wanted to interview me. So at the end of November this year, there's a documentary about Asians doing good. And in that, I am featured where I teach the presenter Bollywood dancing on the North Wales coast by the seaside there. And also they came to my home because they were touched by Martin's story and the work I did as a campaigner, as an ambassador, one of the ambassadors for pancreatic cancer. And that really became, and a lot more other things. I've only just shared some bits, and I've been on TV. I'm appearing again on TV, global stages. I've taught Bollywood in Bangkok, 1,000+ people in a suited, booted, dressing up to the max, right, with full gowns. And I said, can you all get up? And they're like, what? And they said, we have our president here, Ghazala Jabeen, the Bollywood Queen, is going to get you up dancing. And then I went on stage and I went everybody up, tuxedos, the lot. I said, don't you worry about a thing. You don't have to dance all over the place. We're going to do Bollywood. So Bollywood in Bangkok was fantastic, and everybody, and there's a video on my YouTube channel for people to see that. So a lot of these things went on before me. So even though there are many different titles I go by, and the $1 Million Lady Leaders program was because I was saying to women who are lacking some confidence, you can tell yourself you look $1 million. You don't always need a man to tell you you look $1 million. You can get dressed up, look in the mirror and say, yes, I look like $1 million. I feel $1 million. And now I'm earning $1 million because that's the program I teach them. So the $1 Million Lady Leaders program began, and that's bringing over 30 years of industry experience that I've done in sales, in marketing, in business growth, and all the transformations of my journey, and that I created for others globally. That is why I am where I am today doing what I do.
Wonderful. That's quite impressive, because I wasn't expecting all of that, to be fair. I feel like I've got a celebrity with me.
Well, there you go.
The cause that we're doing, I mean, look, the World Transformation, the organization and the work it's doing, I don't know if you managed to see it, but we did a live feed on Saturday from the actual academy with RK Sinha, and we heard from some of the slum kids and the actual guy who runs it. So I'm going to quickly play the appeal, and then we'll wrap up after that. So let me quickly play this, because it ties perfectly in. There we go.
This is a personal appeal to all our friends and family around the world. In April 2018, we launched World Transformation Academy right in the heart of the slum in New Delhi in India. On a regular basis, we have both the slum children and their parents being transformed with sessions of life coaching, yoga, and meditation. Regularly, up until now, we have between 500 to 600 people attending these sessions every month. The cost is approximately about £1,000 a month. Our vision is to expand this to all slums around the world.
So we've been able to do this work with the help of our generous sponsors. But what we'd like to do now is to continue and expand the work that we're doing, is to open the opportunity out to more people to get involved. So if this is something that you would like to get involved in, please connect with the World Transformation Organization, or you can make a donation, whether it's a monthly payment or a one-off payment, using our Just Giving link.
Did you know over 65 million people live in slums all over India, and 6 million of them are children? There are more rapes and suicides in slums than anywhere else in India. We want to impact these figures with your partnership. So we really need your help right now. This is a personal appeal to all of those that love making a difference. We urge you to generously contribute to our cause through the Just Giving link, and watch the 6-minute video that follows this, just to get a real feel of the difference that your money will make. This is an amazing cause. We look forward to your partnership.
I live in Kalkaji slum area, and I want to be an IPS officer. I want to stop the crimes and rapes for girls and these things. I want to change my sister's life.
17% of women experienced some form of physical violence in the past year. Individual factors related to the husband, like poor socio-economic status, consumption of alcohol, extramarital relationships. Reported cases vary from domestic violence to brutal rapes, mental harassment to sexual violence. Many more cases go unreported. A woman is raped every 20 minutes in India, National Crime Records Bureau.
I'd like to narrate a small incident that one of our volunteers narrated to me. She said that there was this young lady who had come over for her 3 introductory sessions of meditation. And on the 3rd day, when she had a one-on-one session with a trainer, she broke down completely, and she said that, last night I wanted to commit suicide because my husband is a gambler, he doesn't work, and whatever money that I get home, he takes it all and spends it all in gambling, and there's no use of my life. My life has been a struggle, and her mother-in-law was so scared and petrified that she sat beside her throughout the night, scared that she would take that extreme step. And in the morning she got up, she got dressed, and she came for her meditation session.
About 800,000 people commit suicide worldwide every year. Of these, 135,000, 17%, are residents of India, a nation with 17.5% of the world's population. Almost 6 million children live in the slums of India and has the highest rate of child sex ratio. 8.9% of the total victims of rape were girls under 14 years of age, while 16.1% were teenage girls 14 to 18 years. Over 65 million people live in the slums of India. Slum dwellers usually earn $1,900 a year. Young slum girls on their way to defecate in the open fields are abducted, raped, and at times hung from a tree, as in the case of the murder of 2 minor Dalit girls in Badon village near Delhi. Since the launch of its personal development school in the New Delhi slum, World Transformation Organization, through its regular life coaching, meditation, yoga, and motivational training, has started to transform the lives of slum children and their parents. For the first time in their lives, the slum community is being taught how to create dreams and goals. and have started their journey to realize them.
Wow, that is it. Just, and I saw that video, but again, to seeing it and realizing the reality of what's out there, and we have in our hands all the facilities and everything to help make that change, and reaching out to do it. And I just hope those people that are listening, that are watching, and they can change not only their lives to better themselves. That's why the gazillionaire pot that I talk about, is the gazillionaire pot was there not for me, because like my mom-in-law always said, we've come with nothing, we go with nothing. Is what do we do in the time we're here? And the gazillionaire pot was for me to create in the first place from my own efforts, and to leave behind for the change that's got to continue to make things better.
Wonderful. Well, look, I know that this may be our first interview or first conversation, but it's definitely not going to be our last, because
listen, we're genies. It cannot be. We're connected.
We're connected now, yeah. I'm gonna have to get onto my carpet later and fly over to Wales.
Yes, I think you'll have to, for sure. But no, it's first of all, Dizzy, I just want to thank you for asking me. Thank you for sharing with me together for our audience stuff that we've both gone through, our own journey of not only our inner sort of journey, but we share it out openly from our heart space, with passion, with purpose, which is what it's all about. And that is all part of the transformation. So I appreciate me coming on here and sharing my part of my journey with your audience as well.
Yeah. Well, like I said, this is the World Transformation Audience. This isn't my thing. This is what has allowed me to bring everybody else on board, because this is the time for all of us to transform the planet. And I say this a lot, that if you are a person that wants to make a difference in the world, if you've been wanting to make a difference, now's the time to stand up. Yeah. The world, if you want to make a difference, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
You can do it right now. This is the time to do it. You know, there's a reason why we've connected. There's a reason why I connected with the lady I interviewed last week. I was connected to her on 4 different levels. So the fact that I was going to meet her was inevitable. I was at my friend's house in London 4 weeks ago, and the guy who came to fit the Sky TV, we had 5 connections.
Wow.
At that moment, and it just led me to believe, and I'll share this now. You know, there's a lot of people that go around that say they're awake, okay, and I get that, but there's a one way of finding out whether you really are awake, because there's a blessing in every stress, everything that's stressed. There's also, you can get blessed, right? So there's always something good comes out of something bad, and it's never not any other way. So the real thing I said to my friend with the Matrix, I said, if you imagine right now, you see one connection and you see that as magic. What if you could see 5 connections for 5 different people all at the same time? Because that is even more magical than the first magic. If you see magic from 5 different angles, what does that show you? And I said, as a visual person, what it did for me, it allowed me to see the Matrix and how nothing's ever out of balance.
That's right. And as Greg Braden says, we are all connected.
Yes.
Right? We are particles in the space. We're all connected. And I think it's wonderful. We want people to connect with us as well at World Transformation Organization, because not only is there big difference being made around the world collectively, and you know, my final parting sentence that I always say, Dizzy, which I will say this as we bring it to a close, is this: together, let's make a mark as we make a difference. And if we're going to make a mark, let's make a beautiful mark.
There you go. Well, look, it's not a coincidence that we're at 1 minute. Sorry, we're at 1 hour, 10 minutes. So literally, I've got just over a minute just to close whatever I want to say.
Yeah.
And that brings us into perfect harmony at 1 minute and 11 seconds. I mean, come on. For those of you that need a sign, this is it. Yeah. If you need, this is like the slap to say, wake up. Yeah. Now is your time. Get up, get out of your own way. Yeah. Move yourself out of the way, because there's loads of hands here ready to help you and lift you up. So with that in mind, Ghazala Jabeen, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. And with that in mind, as I'm closing down with just 20 seconds left. Ladies and gentlemen, come on. You can't make it up. It doesn't get much better than that. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Ask your questions, share it with your friends, and I promise you, it won't say around the bend. And I wasn't supposed to rhyme, but I just did that time. There we go.